Okay, children, today we will, good morning, children. Today we will start with our second unit, that is current electricity. Unit 2, current electricity. And in the first unit, we have studied about electrostatic. That is when the charge was at rest. Charge was at rest, that is the properties of charges, the potential, electric field, electric gradient, electric dipole. Now charge is in motion. Now when charge moves, we can further divide its motion into two categories. First, when it moves with constant velocity. Second is when it moves with variable velocity. Constant means when there is no accelerated motion, and here variable means it is accelerated motion. So here the concept we will study will be what? About current electricity. That we have to start it today. And here we will study about electromagnetism. That is also in our course. Okay. So now as charge is moving, we know the concept of current. In class 10th, earlier also, you have studied the basic thing. What is potential difference, what is current, what is work done while moving a charge, and about positive charge, negative charge, everything you know. In electrostatic also we have studied. So what is electric current? Now what is electric current? Electric current is rate of flow of charge, or the charge per unit time. Unit of charge is coulomb and unit of time is second. So the unit becomes coulombs per second, or the name of this unit is ampere, the name of the scientist. Okay, so the unit of electric current is ampere, or it is represented by letter A. Now class 12th, remember, in class 11th you have studied about fundamental units, about dimensional formulas. In that there were 7 fundamental units, and in them ampere was one of them. So ampere is fundamental unit, coulomb is not the fundamental unit. So this is very important, that ampere is a fundamental unit. It is used in dimensional formula. So this is just a recalling of your 11th class. Now this, children, this when we come to electric current, again we can consider this, that this electric current can be further redivided. It can be divided into two types of current. You can have an average current, as well as one you can have instantaneous current. I can be average current and other can be instantaneous current. Okay, what is average and what is instantaneous? Formula is slightly different, not different, you can say, just depending upon the time interval. I average is del Q upon del T, and I instantaneous, we can say it is dQ by dt. Now what is the difference? When this time interval tends to 0, that is when time interval becomes very small, then we say the average current tends to instantaneous current. This is the current at particular instant of time. This is at particular instant of time. This current, particular time, instant of time, and this is between some time interval. Okay, this this can be best understood if I take one example to you. Okay, I will give you one question so that the concept of average and instantaneous current will be clearly will get into your mind. Okay, so let us consider some conductor. Let Q be the charge that is flowing through it, and the equation of charge with respect to time is given as, say, 4t square plus 3t plus 1. Okay, this is the equation of charge. Now children, this is an equation in which time is variable here, time quadratic equation. So in this, two things are to be determined. First, to find instantaneous time I at time t is equal to 3 seconds. Second, you have to determine average time between average current between time 0 to time equal to, say, 2 seconds. You have to find average current and instantaneous current at time instantaneous at 3 seconds, and average you have to find current at t equal to 0 to t equal to 2 seconds. So now instantaneous current, it is equal to, just now I told you, dq by dt, or you can write d by dt of q. Q is 4t square plus 3t plus 1. That is, you have to differentiate with respect to time. What you have to do, you have to differentiate with respect to time. Now you know the general formula of differentiation, d by dt of, say, d by dx of x to the power n can be written as n x to the power n minus 1. In class 11th also you must have studied differentiation as well as integration. So again we can take d by dt of 4t square plus 3t plus 1 as, it can be written as 4 into 2t 2 minus 1, that is 1, plus 3t 1 minus 1, that is 0, nothing, you will get 1. For constant term, differentiation is 0. So 4 2s are 8t plus 3t to the power 0 is 1. So this is the value of instantaneous current, 8t plus 3. This is again a linear equation in time. That means if we draw a graph between current I and time, you will get a straight line. You will get a straight line, and you can take time equal to, if we take t is equal to 0, then instantaneous current will be 3. T into 8 into 0, 0 plus 3, 3. Again, if we take t is equal to, say, 2 seconds, then instantaneous current will come out to be 8 2s are 16 plus 3, 19 amperes. Okay, again if we take t is equal to 3 seconds, you will get instantaneous current as 8 3s are 24, 24 plus 3, 27 amperes. This is the answer which is required by us in our problem. But why these two things I took? In order to make you understand that if we plot the graph, you will get a straight line. For t equal to 0, current come out to be, say, 3 amperes. Here is the, say, 3 amperes. Okay, now for t equal to 0, now for t equal to, say, 2, this is 1 second or this is 2 seconds, right? The current is 19, somewhere here, it may be somewhere here, point maybe here. For 3 it is 27, so here it will be like this. Current line you will get as a straight line, and it will be like, it will be starting from 3 amperes, so it will be a straight line. So there will be number of instantaneous current at different time periods. So instantaneous value of current comes out to be 27 amperes. So it was when time t is equal to 3 seconds, and the line also we have seen, it started from 3 amperes. Okay, and it was a straight line in case of instantaneous current. Now we will come across how to find out average value of current. Now average value of current, as we have seen the formula, del q upon del t, that is q2 minus q1 upon t2 minus t1. Now children, what is q2? Q2 is the charge when time is 2 seconds, and q1 is the charge when time is 0 seconds, because we have to find, in our problem we have to find the average current when time is 0 and the next time interval is 2 seconds. So interval between 0 to 2 seconds, what is average value of current? So for that we need to find the charge at 0 second and charge at 2 seconds. So we know the formula as it was given, the equation 4t square plus 3t plus 1. We will substitute and we will find q2 as 2 square is 4, 4 4s are 16 plus 3 2s are 6 plus 1. Okay, 2 2s are 4, 4 4s are 16 plus 3 2s are 6 plus 1, 6 6 22, that is 23. Okay, 23 coulombs. Now we come to Q1. What is value of Q1? 4 into 0 plus 3 into 0 plus 1, that is only 1 coulomb. We are determining the charges at 0 second and 2 second. Now average value of current will be the difference in the two charges, 23 minus 1 upon what is difference in the time, 2 minus 0, that is 22 upon 2, or you can say 11 amperes. See children, the average value comes out to be single, that is 11 amperes between time interval 0 to 2 second, whereas in case of instantaneous current we get a straight line, and at particular time we can find, at any time we can find in the instantaneous value of current. Got it? So this should be clear. This problem I discussed because so that the two things, the instantaneous and the average value of current, should be very clear to you all. ठीक है, आप लोगों को सब समझ में आ गया होगा, तो आप इसको अच्छे से ध्यान रखिए, अच्छे से पढ़िए, प्लस NCERT में भी इसको पढ़ते रहिए, कहीं मिल जाएगा, आपके स्टार्टिंग वाले ही पेज में है, तो आप उसे पढ़िए और नोट्स बनाइए. सो नाउ नेक्स्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग अबाउट करंट. ओके, सी चिल्ड्रन, करंट में देखिए मैग्नीट्यूड भी है और डायरेक्शन भी है. If a physical quantity consists of magnitude as well as direction, then what should be that quantity? Of course, आप लोग के माइंड में आ रहा होगा वेक्टर होगा. ये नहीं, this is wrong. It is, current is not a vector quantity but it is a scalar quantity, and more precisely you can say it is a tensor quantity. This tensor quantity you will study in your higher classes, that is after in graduation, basically not in BTech, but they teach in graduation classes. Okay, so if question comes in your board examination having options as whether current is a scalar, vector or a tensor, please tick on tensor, and if tensor is not given in your option, then please tick on scalar. So because when we are limiting to this book, generally we consider current as a scalar quantity. Now the question becomes, why current is a scalar quantity when it has magnitude as well as direction? Now, so in order to understand it, let us consider current flowing through a wire be 3 ampere. Let another wire be there and the current carrying through it be 2 ampere. At junction point they meet and they get added up and would give current as 5 ampere. Simple addition is there. In case of current, simple addition, 3 plus 2 is 5 ampere. Whereas if angle between them say is 30 degree, then also they get added up. Even if the angle between them is 90 degree, then also they will get added up. 3 plus 2, it will always be 5 ampere. So they are not following the rules of vector addition. Remember children, in class 11th you must have studied parallelogram law of vector addition, triangle law of vector addition, polygon law of vector addition. In all these cases, we have seen that when vector is added, angle is considered. That is, the total resultant of the two vectors, the sum of two vectors comes out to be a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. It depends upon the angle. Whereas in case of current we see, it just mere gets added up. So it does not follow, it is not following the rules of vector addition. Therefore, we can say that current I is not a vector quantity but it is a scalar quantity. So I think this much is clear to you. Then if current I is considered to be a scalar quantity, there should be one more quantity which represents current only, which we may consider it to be a vector form of current. So what is that quantity? That is current density. Children, current density is represented by letter J with a vector note on it. Now this current density J is equal to current upon area, current per unit area. Suppose if we consider a conductor over here and current I is flowing through it. Now let us consider one area over here. Okay, this is in red I have shown. A is the area. Then current density J is given as I upon A. This area vector, this area is such that its normal is parallel to the current. Normal means normal of area. As in electrostatic we have studied area. Area represents a scalar, but in vector form we take a normal which is perpendicular to the surface as area vector. So here also area vector is the normal to the surface. So here current I and normal to the surface area vector is parallel. Children, they are parallel to each other. See, then the current density is defined as J is equal to I upon A. So current density is the number of charge carriers that are passing through a unit area per second normal to that surface. They should be normal to the surface. That is, current and the area vector should be parallel to each other, or you can say area should be perpendicular to the current. Area should be perpendicular to the current, or area vector should be parallel to the current, because area vector is normal to the surface. So current density is I upon A, or you can say ampere per meter square. The unit of current density is ampere per meter square. Now there may come a question that current, suppose if a conductor is there and in this conductor if area is not perpendicular but it is slant, it is making some angle with a perpendicular area. This is perpendicular area and A dash is a slant area, and let the angle between them be theta. This angle be. Then what will be the formula of current density? It will be I upon A, this component. Now this component of area, see, we can divide A dash into two components, this and this. A dash cos theta and A dash sin theta. This cos theta one is perpendicular to the current. Current is flowing in this direction, and A dash cos theta is this. A dash cos theta is perpendicular to the current. So therefore we have to take current density as J is equal to I upon A cos theta. We can explain the form of normal vector also. Like children, see, please pay attention to this. This is A and this is A dash, and A dash has D dash over here, and this D dash can be resolved into two components. If this is theta, children, this is theta, this becomes 90 minus theta and this becomes theta again. If this is theta, then D dash cos theta and D dash sin theta are the two components of normal vector. So again, by the same principle, J is equal to I upon ds cos theta, or you can write A cos theta, A in the form of vector. Therefore, if we cross multiply, J A cos theta is equal to I, or you can say J dot A, dot product of current density and area vector gives current, and we already know dot product is a scalar product. Answer is a scalar quantity. So again, I is a scalar quantity and this is dot product. So current density should be very clear to you. In your class 12, you should know this much about current density. आपको इतना बनना चाहिए current density क्या है, current क्या है, और आपका ये क्यों स्केलर है, प्लस. So now our next topic is Ohm's law. Let me change this pen, this one. Okay, children. Now Ohm's law. This law, you have already studied in class 10th about Ohm's law. Under all physical condition remaining constant. This is very important. Under all physical condition remaining constant, that is, it may be temperature, there may be pressure, it may be humidity, etc. When all physical conditions are constant, then the potential difference across the ends of the conductor is directly proportional to current flowing through it. So children, under all physical condition remaining constant, the potential difference across the ends of the conductor. Let us consider one conductor. A and B are the two ends. Let del V be the potential difference across the two ends. And then let I be the current flowing. Then del V is directly proportional to I according to this condition. And but here there is one main thing is that temperature, pressure, or every physical condition should be constant. Then only the potential, as we will increase the potential difference, more will be the current. That is, for example, if this is the conductor and the potential across them is 10 volts, that is, this is 10 plus 10 volt and this is 0 volt, so potential difference is 10 volt. Then let I be the current flowing through it be 2 amperes. Then again there is the same physical condition is same. Temperature, if it is 25 degree, then in second case also temperature is 25 degree. Then if potential is increased to 20 volt and here's the potential difference is 20 volt, then current will be 4 ampere. As potential increases, current also increases. So this condition prevails only when other physical conditions are constant. Then del V is equal to some constant times I. This constant is called resistance of the conductor. Resistance means which opposes the flow of charges. Resistance of the conductor. This is constant for ohmic conductor only, that is, which follow Ohm's law, where potential is directly proportional to the current. So R is the resistance, and if we write in the unit form, then V is in volt, R into I is in ampere. So 1 volt upon 1 ampere is equal to 1 ohms. Okay, the unit of resistance is 1 ohm, or it is the unit of resistance is ohm, and in symbolic form it is written like this. This is the symbol for ohms. Now this resistance of conductor depends upon the length of the conductor. Children, more is the length, more will be the resistance. It is directly all this thing you have studied in your 10th class. R is directly proportional to L, inversely proportional to area. If we combine, we will get L upon A, or you can say R is equal to some rho times L upon A. As you increase the length of the conductor, more will be the resistance. ठीक है, जैसे ही लंबाई बढ़ेगी मतलब हमको चार्ज को और ज़्यादा ट्रैवल करना पड़ेगा, उसको खूब लंबा चलना पड़ेगा. सो रेजिस्टेंस बिकम्स मोर. अपना रास्ता लंबा हो, अपन को दूर जाना हो तो हमको बहुत ज़्यादा क्रॉस करना पड़ता है, कई एटम्स को टकराते हुए पहुँचेंगे. देयरफॉर इट इज़ डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू रेजिस्टेंस. और अगर आप बहुत ब्रॉड रास्ते से जाएंगे, चौड़ा रास्ता होगा तो आप इजीली पहुंच जाएंगे. सो इफ़ मोर इज़ द एरिया, लेस इज़ द रेजिस्टेंस. सो प्लीज़ pay attention like this and understand like this. So if we combine the two formulas, we get R is equal to L upon A, and constant of proportionality comes out to be rho. Rho is called resistivity. It depends upon the material, किस material का बना है. Okay, it is resistivity of the conductor. So R is equal to rho L upon A. Now children, one more thing, what we are studying is the Ohm's law, and this form of Ohm's law, del V is equal to Ri. This is a scalar form of Ohm's law. There is one more vector form of Ohm's law. You can represent in vector form also. This is scalar form, scalar equation of this Ohm's law. Now in order to explain this vector form, first let me tell you the unit of resistivity, then we will proceed in that way. See children, R is in ohms. If we write R in ohms, 1 ohm over here, and rho, L is in meter and area in meter square, this will get cancelled and rho will be is ohm meter. The unit of resistivity will be ohm meter. So this thing is clear to you. What is the unit of resistivity? Ohm meter. And these are SI units, okay, standard international units. Now coming to the vector form of this, see children, here V, delta V is equal to IR. I is scalar, well, potential is also scalar, and R is constant quantity. R is also a scalar. So this is a scalar form of Ohm's law. Now if we come to vector form of Ohm's law, this can also be easily derived. Delta V, as we have studied in electrostatic, can be written as E into L. E is electric field and it is vector quantity. You have studied electric field is delta V upon L. It is negative gradient of potential. So you can write this potential in the form of E into L, I and R. Okay. Now in place of I and R, children, I can be written, let it leave this I as it is. R can be written as rho L upon A. Just now we have derived what is R, rho L upon A. This L and L will get cancelled. So you will get E is equal to, what is I upon A? It is current density, right? What is I upon A? Current density. So see here, this is vector form of Ohm's law. Electric field is equal to rho times current density, or in other form also you can write J is equal to E upon rho, or you can say E into sigma is equal to J. What is sigma? Sigma is 1 upon rho, or you can say it is conductivity. Rho was resistivity and reciprocal of resistivity is conductivity. So sigma is conductivity. So this is another form of Ohm's law, that is E is equal to J rho. Okay, this is one form, and J is equal to sigma E. This is also one of the form of Ohm's law. These are two vector forms of Ohm's law, and one already in scalar form we have studied delta V is equal to IR. So one more thing, delta V is equal to IR represents in the form of graphical representation, it will be a straight line. Okay, if we plot graph between delta V and I, you will get a straight line, and slope of this line, what will be the slope? If we take slope is equal to tan theta, it will be perpendicular upon base, or you can say it is delta V upon I. If we complete this triangle, tan theta is perpendicular upon base, that is delta V upon I, or you can say it is R, resistance. Slope gives resistance. Okay, and it is constant for ohmic only, for ohmic conductor only, which follows Ohm's law. There are children, there are about 90% of conductors which we are dealing with are ohmic in nature. 90% are ohmic in nature, whereas many of them do not follow Ohm's law. Okay, they do not follow, it is not directly proportional. Okay, their resistance keeps on changing, like in case of p-n junction semiconductors, in case of gallium arsenide, and different graphs have been given in your book. We will study later on when we will study temperature dependence of resistance, as well as in your NCRT children, in page 110 I think.